Yes, a special congressional hearing had been, designated and programmed on account of the signals coming out of Nigeria. The U.S. Has become worried because of the implications of having Nigeria unravel in a certain manner, the population there and all of what it could spell for the global global peace, more or less. And then on the 11th of December in 2018, there was an event in Lagos that was tagged the Freedom Park Proclamation, in which the self-determination initiatives, organizations of the whole of southern Nigeria and the Middle Belt came together under the urges of all of what the movement for New Nigeria, which is the countrywide consensus for reworking the constitutional architecture of Nigeria, which LNC is participating in, along with organizations from Western Nigeria and Middle Belt. It was a coming together of all those initiatives across the southern and middle belt of Nigeria that made that proclamation declaring that the Constitution of Nigeria, the disputed Constitution of Nigeria, which has been repudiated across the entire country, can no longer be the basis of going to any further elections, because elections can only reinforce the life of that Constitution. They insist that we have come to where we must suspend the journey to election and go into the discussion of how to rework the Union, and if we can't find common ground, how to dismantle the Union. The argument begins with the 12 contiguous states that permit me to use this to illustrate. The argument of the movement for New Nigeria Alliance territories, these three are working together. And their argument is simple, that Nigeria is a secular state, and that the day these 12 contiguous states impose Sharia simultaneously, that they have seceded from the secular union, from the secular constitution, because it's expressly what they have done is expressly forbidden by that constitution. So the rest of us, view what they have done in imposing Sharia as the exercise of their right to self-determination, because they didn't impose it on anybody else. And we went into meetings in which we began to knowing where Nigeria was coming from as a product of British colonial enterprise. So let us leave aside all of what had happened in the past. Let us work out what will happen with the rest of us, since these ones have gone away. And it was in that thinking that we have the Western region, the old Eastern region that includes the Midwestern region as the Lower Niger, and the balance here is the Middle Belt. But the three are working together to find a way to take us from where we are now peacefully to what we can be the day after the Nigeria of imposition. It is the Nigeria of imposition we are rejecting. There was a Nigeria of agreement that was in place as at that was agreed in 1960, but which collapsed in 1966. And we've been waiting since 1966 to get back to the discussion that will restore it. Many people who imposed it now say it's not negotiable, it's there's all kinds of things, killing people all over the place and setting people's lives back. And having introduced the Sharia that requires them to kill the infidel, they've been killing. Having embraced the feudal worldview in which they believe that all men are not born equal, they've made the union of Nigeria impossible. And we say to ourselves, should we allow it to degenerate to where blood is flowing all over the place before we engage it? We said no, that it is possible for us to work together and find a replacement for that constitution that we can no longer endure.
So you think that the February 16 election has no way of solving the problem that you highlighted?
Yes, it has no way of solving it, because whoever wins that election is going to have to swear to defend and uphold the constitution that had made us slaves in our lands. And we had endured it since 1999. There have been elections how many times since then? This is the fourth one. And if the source of the problem we're trying to solve is this constitution, whether it is corruption or infrastructural decay or the gross insecurity we have, they are all flowing from this constitution. The structures that were changed from what we agreed. We were a federation, as at the time we became one country. We became one country on account of being a federation. If we departed from being a federation and somehow a rogue federal government emerges in the middle to continue to operate in the name of that Nigeria that died in 1966, because that was what happened when the 5 constitutions that created the federation were toppled by soldiers. And we said, let us accept that we can only be one country as a federation. Let us go back to what will be acceptable to everybody. Otherwise, that imposition will be, resisted by those who get injured. And we've seen a lot of agitation in the Niger Delta. We see Amenda, Avenger, we see Men and all of that. In the Yoruba side, it was OPC. In the Middle Belt, we've seen the kind of exchanges going on between them and the Fulani. And then there came the Biafran agitation. They are all, saying the same thing in various ways. They are rejecting the imposition of Nigeria upon them. The Niger Delta agitation is asking, how did the oil and gas of Niger Delta become the property of Kano and Sokoto people and Maiduguri people? Because in a federation, you own what you, particularly the kind of federation that Nigeria was negotiated to be, you own your assets and you contribute a certain percent, 15%, to the operation of the central government created by the regions. But from 1966, not only were the regions fractured into states, their assets were hijacked and sequestered by that rogue federal government, because you can't have a federal government without a federation. Nigeria has become a state in which it pretends to be a federation, and then having a federal government without actually being a federation. It's a unitary state. It's a unitary state now. And then the consequences of all of that, go down to where those who are in that union are feeling entrapped, because that constitution by which this election is being is mandated, and by which the winner will govern, has created what I would call an inverted federation, an inverted federalism, in which the center is now the owner of everybody. Electricity cannot generate because the authors of the imposition say I cannot generate electricity. I can't do my road to connect to state capitals. I can't do my ports. I can't do my railway. I can't do my police. I can't do, even the basic matter of who will govern us. We can't elect by ourselves who we choose to govern us. Somebody from the center who have to decide. That's the INEC. And what the Lower Niger Congress and its MNN alliance partners have proposed is that we defer this election to go and discuss the replacement for this flawed instrument. Because if that is not being done, we've already gone to where everybody's working out their self-determination. From 1967 to about 2 years ago, the agreement was all of those who were talking about sovereign conference and restructure. They were saying, please, you have to restructure, otherwise we'll have to find our own future outside the union. But it came to where killings resumed, and we now say that the union is at an end. We are working out our salvation in self-determination, except somebody finds a way to restore the federal basis of the union. The argument has changed from go and do it, otherwise we go away. We are saying the union is at an end, to the extent that this constitution, which puts our signature as the authors of our damnation, we've gone to show that we didn't make any constitution, and all of what they are pretending are in place are not in place. And then some people sit in Abuja pretending that there's a National Assembly that can attend to the matter. The people going to this election are telling us that we have been conquered, and therefore we no longer have a say on how we live our lives, and we're just going to ignore them and the elections. We've told them, don't go, so that we can go and sort out. If they insist on going to the election, those who are choking under this constitution will continue the arrangements for how to leave the union. Nigeria, as defined by this constitution, is no longer our project. The Nigeria that was our project has been truncated and tossed aside. It has been, the garment of it is now worn by a stranger, a monster that is causing damage all over the place. See how the blood flow all over the place. What's the reason? Why are people being killed in the Middle Belt in the name of Nigeria?